You say we are free, and then let's give you your time. It's all. You say we are free, and then let's about your boy always come. I am, Jana Junubi, I am. Mafikurus, isn't the Washashidi. Oh, Gian, Jana Junubi, Gian. The West will be there, Omakulu, and Fotu. Anataban, since 2011, Nadiasa, same level today. Anataban, 21 years, fighting freedom, and we are fighting ourselves today. No one is safe from the road. No one is safe from you, but you take a road. Dead bodies recovered on the river nights. Only God knows when the killers will be found. Oh, no. Numbers everywhere. The youth are dying on the streets. But we're finished from the bullets of the unknown gunmen. And got the raiders. I am. Jana Junubi, I am. Mafi Gurus, isn't give us a city. Oh, Gian. Jana Junubi, Gian. It was to be left over Kulu and Fotu. Anataban, since 2011, Adiasa, same level today. Anataban, 21 years, fighting for freedom, and we are fighting ourselves today. In this time of everything, where we stand for our peace. In this time of everything, where we stand for our peace, we pray for this country. School fees, and I don't want to do. We met at Takoma, the university Takoma, Oma, bigger guy. Yeah, the promise of free education, but don't discuss. Anataban, City Shoe, Marvin Bay, I let you shabby. Oh, Anataban, Summer Shoe, Marvin Bay, I was not so cool. Oh, Anataban, since 2011, 7-11 today.
Thank you, everyone. We apologize for inconvenience. We are back with Honorable Peter Mayandit. Just charged his phone. It's good to go. So we will be moved to part 2, which is we will be talking about election of 2024. Let me welcome everybody back. Please share the video for those of you in Facebook, YouTube, and those of you in Clubhouse. So we will be starting discussion soon. So let me welcome back our guest, Honorable Peter Mayen Majongdit. So our topic, our next discussion is regarding by election of 2024. As we are in less than 8 months or less than that away for the true election. Honorable Peter Mayandit, do you think, as you as one of the presidential candidates, do you think the election will take place in 2024? Honorable Mayen, can you hear me? So you pause. Let me. Okay, let me wait him to come back. So for those of you of Clubhouse, I don't want to bring anybody yet. Let me turn off the rate. Okay, let me wait for him to come back, guys. Start sharing the video, guys. Start sharing. We'll be back.
You say we are free, and then a little give you more you better. It's it all. You say we are free, and then a little bash you more you whisker. I am Jana Junubi I am Mafi Gurush Kisim Giwasha Shedi. Oh Gian Jana Junubi Gian Wasu Bile Omakulu Elefotu Anataban since 2011 Ladiasa same level today Anataban 21 years fighting freedom and we are fighting ourselves today. No one is safe on Emily Road. No one is safe on Juba to take a road. Dead bodies recovered on the river nights. Only God knows when the killers will be found. Oh no. Land grabbers everywhere. The youth are dying on the streets. Well, we're finished from the bullets of the unknown gunmen and got the raiders. Ayan, Jana Junubi Ayan, Mafi Gurush, Kisim Giwasha Shedi. Oh, Gian, Jana Junubi Gian, the Wasu Bile, Omakulu Elefotu. Anataban since 2011, Ladiasa, same level today. Anataban, 21 years, fighting freedom, and we are fighting ourselves today. Paying this time for everything, where it's time for our peace. Oh Lord, if this time for everything, where is time for a peace? We're praying for this country. Oh, school fees, and I know we want to school.
Okay. Welcome back, Honorable Peter Mayen. So, can you hear me correctly now? Can you hear me right?
I can hear you very loud and clear. Can you hear me too?
Yeah, I can hear you. So let us move into our conversation. The election of 2024 is on the way, and we hear a lot of voices out there, whether in the opposition camp or in the government. Some of them, they have doubt that the election will not take place in 2024. As one of the presidential candidates, do you think there will be election take place in 2024?
Well, thank you to thank you toward that, and I would say that yes, election is going to take place in South Sudan, and that will be the first ever elections. And let me highlight you or the progress where we are in today. Just now, the African Union have sent into South Sudan the panel of the wise one, which is actually composed of the former president of Burundi, also the former president of South Africa, and the former president, the former chief justice of uh, of Kenya. She's a former chief justice of Kenya. We had discussed between ourselves the SPLM, which have a presidential candidate, their team headed by the Secretary General, and we also discussed with the SPLM-IO, which was represented by Madam Angelina, and three things were obvious. One, we have said a number of issues why elections shouldn't take place, and they were discussed on. One of those issues is the fact that that census did not take place was one issue that was raised. The other issues was about the refugees that was raised. The other issue was about the diaspora that was raised. and also the issue of uh, unification of the forces that was also raised. The issue of lack of funding towards elections was also raised. The issue of empowering a democratic institution was also raised. And all of these factors were raised. And once they were raised, it was really very important and crucial uh, to critically look at those issues, whether those issues could be definitely can be able to affect elections. And and we really analyzed those issues. And I said it was very important that South Sudan has to go towards elections. We look at it. We got the experience of Burundi to unify the forces together within just 3 months. And the president of Burundi, the former president of Burundi, was able to give an experience to that. We also look at the fact that uh, the the census is not just conducted for the purpose of elections. It is actually conducted for purpose of national planning, so that the country can probably plant better in terms of various sectors. And we have various census. We even have agriculture sector and all of this. We also look at the issue of refugees, which actually is, as to say, the conducive environment. And because when you take refuge in any country, definitely is a decision of your own. It's not the decisions of the government. Uh, and then we also look at the fact that uh, that the democratic institution need to be supported. We thank the African Union of the West one, or the African Union panel of the West. It's called the African Union panel of the West, which is basically try to help South Sudanese. And we do understand, and our position was basically, uh, as a presidential candidate, I'm following the African Charter on democracy and elections. That was actually, we are part and signal to that. So we look at the challenges, but we also all agree that there are things crucial that needed to be done. There are technical ways, basically, you could go about other issues such as the diaspora and the refugees. For diaspora, apparently, like our party, we do have a website which is basically allow the diaspora to register. And so all of these factors were looked at. And we also look at this, the fact that South Sudanese must experience the first ever elections. And what came up also, they have their own terminology. They say you must test the water. So we are actually at a stage of testing the water, and we will see how, if the water will be bitter, there will be sweet, and that's the positions of the African Union. Uh, and they pledged that as long as we cease hostility among ourselves, as long we could be able to move forward, it is very important that 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 we could be able to move forward. So this is the fact in terms of the level of democracy that is in place. And we all equal the fact that let's just leave doubt aside. A doubt of fact that the election will be rigged or anything can be done. So these are the factors we have finally decided that we have to leave them aside.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Honorable Peter. But what if, for the big picture, if the election will not take place in 2024, what will South Sudan will be like if the election will not take place?
That's absolutely total disaster. South Sudan will be, with all the respect to our former brothers and to the Sudan government, and we might likely fall in the same system. And if you look at why should we fall in the same system when we can be able to uh, change the narrative, when we can be able to go to elections. So we there are several options if South Sudan is to be rescued, but the best option is basically to go for elections. Because actually, as a given a matter of fact, is that there is no country in the whole world that just start with the perfect democratic elections on the first elections. So for us, we consider ourselves as learners. We consider ourselves that people who are under transitions, and we had a number of transitions. Transition during the peace agreement, and then also we had the transitions of the previous agreements. We also have a transition of revitalized agreement. We also have again now the transitions of the roadmap. So all those various transitions caused suffering, cause democratic process, cause bad governance, cause unprogressive, ineffective. So all of this in terms of economics, in terms of the political systems, so we're not moving forward, and that's now we're saying South Sudan is at a good fit now, so that they can take one step further, and one step further really lead to 100 miles. Why we're saying this? If you look currently at South Sudan, the gun have gone silent, and majority of them have accepted the call for a non-violence, which have always stood towards it. And majority of South Sudanese are just eager to be able to vote in the leader of their choice, and shouldn't be about parties, but should be about what plans do you have, how best are you going to improve the life of South Sudanese? And how best could you be able to make South Sudan move to the next level? So these are the various questions that remains in mind, and these are the various questions that every South Sudanese need to appreciate. And it's a collective effort, even though the diaspora lives in diaspora, of course, but they also have to understand that they have a responsibility, and that particular responsibility is for their own first country. And your first country is what you're going to be proud of. So, in regards to elections, uh, the Political Parties Act, the progress that apparently have been done is the Political Parties Act, which has been enacted, which called for fresh registration for all parties to register, including the SPLM, based on the new act that has been passed. And we have stood very much against the election commissions, which have not yet been sworn in, because basically the fact that the election commission must be independent and capable, we're not saying those appointed were not independent, neither were they capable, but we are saying that they were appointed against political parties. And that's why we do not nominate and we do not have anyone to be appointed, particularly against our political party, because basically we want the committee, the committee, which is basically for the election commissions, must be independent. And we still believe that within a short period we could still be able to work out the judicial reforms, whereby we could be able to present complaints instead of raking on anything. The other part of it is that uh, we're pushing very hard to make sure that the government, the money being spent on unnecessary, should be spent towards election. Because I ask myself, and I would like to ask South Sudanese a very important question, and that question is, what is basically the reason, objective, why did we suffer for all these years? Why did we bring independence to South Sudan? Well, the SPLM may claim they're independent, but they have to remember, alongside of struggle, there were young men, women, children, even animals, dogs, were accompanying them towards that particular struggle. So if after the struggle we just simply ended up, we could, we just simply ended up surrendering our country toward cures, definitely that would can never be an option for us. So since we are all equal, since we are all South Sudanese, what is the problem? Let's face election. Yeah. So, and the other issues. in regard to census, and I have seen issues being occurred out, the root causes towards the conflict. Well, in my interpretations, the major root cause towards the conflict in South Sudan is basically is lack of democracy, and I think it's time for South Sudanese to have a proper and a new. They should have a proper governance system and a new democratic state by 2024.
Thank you. Yeah, some of opposition, yourself, with the opposition outside the country and opposition within the country, they are saying that the election of 2024 will not take place simply. Number one, the election will not be credible, transparency. So as you mentioned before, the election will not be rigged. But some of the opposition leaders, they are saying that this election, whatever the election will take place in 2024, the election will be rigged. So for yourself, as a chairperson and the president's candidate, do you think the election, if the election will take place in 2024, do you think the Australian political party will rig the election? That's number one. Number two, you have seen the Australia IO, they have been saying that some of them, they said they don't want election. And also, two, they don't want extension. So what they, one of the political party has a signature of ARSIS peace agreement. And do you think if there's no election and no extension, which I see that this is what this current government are leading to, if the election will not take place, when the time getting closer, the SPLMIG and SPLIO, they will come together and say, oh, I think we did not parliamented the other part of peace agreement. We need more time. Like as we see that the unified forces, for instance, some of them now that are unified, they are deployed, but the rest of unified forces, they still remain. And we are getting close to election. So do you think the election, if the election will take place, do you think the SPLM political party will rig the election? Thank you. Go ahead.
Well, that perhaps may be a prediction, whether right or wrong. But rigging an election, in what I have seen in many countries, it is an art. So I wonder whether the SPLM have that art alone. And if they do, where did they experience it from? Because the previous election was, I would call it a ceremonial, or I would, you can name it anyway, whatever names you call it, a showcase, you can say it, whatever you can say. So I wonder, where will SPLM get the experience to rig a democratic election? Where did they learn that particular art? And if they did, what about others? So the question of ranking as a flag bearer and a presidential candidate, I look at it as an art. It's like a game within the football match. And if the question of using the arms or the security forces, where did those security forces come from? They come from within us. And definitely it will be very difficult, I think so, for any security person who have spent 9 months in the bush without salaries. And you have person here or a party here that is offering you a professional training that is able you to be a professional military officer, and he will also help you to help other nations. So I think this is a theory of those armed groups who want to stay at power at the expense of South Sudanese. That one, I don't believe in it. Because I also don't believe to the fact that because we are offering women 50% of the power sharing, the SPLM is offering 25%. And I don't know what the SPLMI is offering if they accept to go towards election. And we are offering 30% to the youth employment. So we are really changing the narratives. So that thing I don't agree on it. If the SPLM have enough act to rig election, well, unless the Yellow family do not have a brain.
So, do you think the yellow family and red family and blue family, what do you three family have in common? And what will be yellow family will do different from red family and blue family?
Yeah, definitely we're going to do a lot.
Hmm.
We have 11 among the issues with that we had the declarations in Yambio. Also, they also came up at the youth conventions in Bor. Let me
Hmm.
just mention three factor what the Yellow family is going to do.
Hmm.
One, the Yellow family is going to continue with its movements of non-violence and create a very patriotic and more productive, progressive states in South Sudan. And two, the Yellow family is going within its first democratic elections is going to create enough position and is going to create enough employment. And above
Hmm.
all, the Yellow family is going to introduce the first ever democratic history by me leaving the power after 2024. So, and the next president will come.
There is a question coming out from comment section here from Ayok. He asking you, do you think that the election will be done while some parties are not ready for election? What do you say about that? Because we have pull-out group, political party staying outside the country, and they are not registered. As your political party, you are registered. What do you think? What do you say to the ruling party SPLM? Will they give
Uh,
a space, political space? Because right now, at this moment, people are saying there's no political space in the country. There's no freedom of speech in the country. When opposition go outside and they campaign, like for yourself, you are campaigning now, like a couple months ago, you were in Bor, and people and 3 months or 5 months ago, you were in Yambio, as you mentioned. But the political party outside in the country, they are saying that the opposition, they don't have a political space in the country. Okay, these political parties, they are not registered yet, and they are claiming, and this is the one of the things that you want to mention, because you are registered, but the other political party, they are claiming that even SPLMIG is not registered. So what are you saying to these political leaders, opposition that are outside, claiming that there's no political will, there's no political space for them to come to the country to campaign freely for the election of 2024? Can you explain to you as one of the registered political party in the country? Do you support the other political party outside that have not registered yet? Will you support them to come back to the country, register their own political party, and then they can go and campaign like the way that you are doing right now? Thank you very much. Go ahead.
I love the questions. Is a good questions. One, in regards to the fact that of political space, you know, political space is something that's not really given to you. It's something you struggle for it. Me being the chairperson, being the president of the People's Liberal Party, I hardly remember shortly after we joined the political parties, I was arrested, and I kept the momentum. uh, and we went ahead. So those parties like the SPLMIO, which says they shouldn't be there, they are not ready for the country is not ready for election and no extension. I have associated with them for long, and I've been with their leader for long. They, it was very clear even before we extended for for the 2 years, which is currently ending, towards a purely democratic transformation. They say they want a state of anarchy, whereby there is no election and there is no war and there's no peace. So if you analyze it, what is the state of anarchy? The state of anarchy is that the people in the system must continue until they grow old and die. Because basically, there will be no war in this country anymore. Even those who are planning for war, the war must stop. And then that is particularly the state of anarchy. And definitely, it's not. I wish it would have been benefiting a common man, a common South Sudanese, and would have a very proper progress. But that's not happening. So that's in regards to that. Well, when it comes to preparation towards elections, well, I don't think the government will come and tell you, the ruling party, and tell you, prepare yourself for election. No, I don't think it doesn't happen anywhere. So what happened is simple: is the political parties, they have to sit, or an individual political party sits and have their own strategy. Look at us, the Yellow Family. When Kir was endorsed in Wow, it took us only less than 2 weeks to get the endorsement. And when they went to Wow, we went to Yambio. And we got the endorsement, and we were very much ahead than the SPLM because we passed a number of resolutions, and then people come from all over. If you look at the map of South Sudan, for those who have never seen that particular map, see how far is Yambio. And people travel all across, and we organize ourselves. And so it's up to the party to organize themselves and challenge the ruling party if they want power. And if that particular party is not ready towards particular elections, well, they can be on standby. They also have options for looking for collusion. They also have options, but a party could deny and decline and say, "Look, we're not running for election this year. We'll wait for the next election." So this does not stop in election. So South Sudan elections must go ahead, and that predictions of saying that this and that and this will happen is just, I would say, it should be an ill motive, because I give you the truth that, and I have said it times and again, okay, there is no way I'm giving up. And I remember in one of our meeting, one of the national security person came over, and when he came over, he tried to distract our meeting. I told him, look here, your issue, you are in law implementer. This is politicians. This is who are gathered here, politicians. Get out of it. You know? So you really need to be resilient enough. You really need to be courageous enough. And and I think apart from Dr. Lam, I'm the first person to challenge the SPLM, the ruling party. And I'm confident. It's not that I don't, we are non-violent. I don't have weapons. But this idea, the former idea of saying that election will be rigged by force, forget about it. This former idea saying if someone tells me we'll rig election through technology, I will get worried. So and this is not the South Sudan that they knew. It's the South Sudan that we currently have a new generations that really want to move this country forward. And I think is the most crucial point. When it comes to the other questions of other issues, South Sudan must be set towards election. Because if I'm to ask the entire world, and if I'm to ask all the South Sudanese, what option are there apart from going towards election? And countries have really improved, and there's no country that just one day gave back to first democratic elections without the issues, And having been in Kenya, I saw a number of things that had happened before. So this is a real fact, and I think elections are set and they must happen. And what I've just seen of late is that the SPLM is getting too much afraid towards election, and they started it. They were the first one to nominate their presidential candidate. We are the second, and we are waiting for those others who are in the game.
Okay. There is a question coming from Peter Ngong. Peter Ngong is asking you, this is a very important question regarding about security issues in the country. He's saying that he's asking you regarding about security and fair election to be observed by the IG and IO and the other parties are not really seen. This is the very first time for our nation has ever held such election. So security, mostly the security in the country is not stable. How can the election will take place if the security is not stable in the country? Thank you.
Yeah, this question is very important, but let me articulate it this way. One is the fact that the security organs or anybody that's in uniform is actually distant from politics, not a politician. And those who says we are soldiers of IO, soldiers of IG, that is untrue. They are national security officers on that. And the second question, the second point is they are not European, neither Americans or Asians. They are South Sudanese. And if the security organs want the same suffering, the same living standards, the same thing, then they will mess up. But I do believe that this time they will not mess up. We have already formed a government of an agreement whereby I'm a signatory and part to it. And the government of agreement on the transition must end at election. So during the election day, they have two options. Either they are in duty to safeguard security in the area, or they are in their own normal dress to vote and return back. So when you say security is not stable, uh, what do you really mean? Because South Sudanese, all of us, we are at a struggle. At a struggle not of an individual party, such as Yellow and Red and the Blue family. We are at a struggle to deliver our country toward democracy, prosperity. That's what we are struggling for. And if so, I don't think this is a theory. This is particularly a theory, or I would call it illusion as well, which is not really a real fact that can delay election. If you come from your house, you're going to vote, and someone says, I don't think that, So the most important thing is to empower the democratic institutions. The most important thing is to be able to foster and work closely with institutions that deliver democracy. I don't want to mention election commission, political parties, but also the such as the constitution review, and I do believe I'm winning.
Thank you, Honorable Peter Mayen. I have one gentleman in club. I want to ask you a question. Attack, if you can hear my voice, you can open your mic and ask your question. Thank you.
Thank you, but I do have a few questions, and I hopefully I don't take much time. But I think these are important questions, and we'll touch on some of the things in discussion earlier on about economy and the dollar, and then also the flooding issue. Former Minister, you were the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management. In March of 2020 to November 2022, as a minister, what did you achieve to help the millions of people who were affected by floodings? As you know, homes, crops, cattle, animals were destroyed by flooding. And this has been going on for the last 4 to 5 years. And government has given zero support. We're not building dams. To be able to hold excess water. So, as a minister of humanitarian and disaster management, what do you feel like you achieved during your tenure as a minister? I have some more questions, but I would love this will be the first one I would say.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, go ahead and answer those questions.
Yeah, I really would like to say I achieve a lot. Uh, During my time is when the country had floods. What did I do as a minister? What I did, first and foremost, I did a field visit to all the areas. I really don't know where you come from, but I have, perhaps I may have visited your place. It's not just a question of visiting areas, but it was a question to have an immediate plan, strategy that put in place. Let me just mention a few. Uh, I was in Bantu, and we tried very much to work on the dike. I was in Jungle, I was in Duquesne, and we work with the help of some internationals. We basically have to speak a lot of language to convince them to work on that. Uh, I have did dikes, and I think there is no single South Sudanese that could swear that he didn't get my humanitarian support. And I did the humanitarian support in triangle. I worked with the partners, and since the partners they had the procedures, metrics, and distribution registrations, what I've seen in Gibor and also in Fashala. So I want the other way around to create a situation that I appealed to South Sudanese to give their contributions to those who are suffering. And perhaps many of you have seen me making an appeal if you ever watch South Sudan television, which is SSBC. That appeal was immediately challenged to those aims. And I could say I am blessed that during my time, apart from few, I lost some few children because of flooding, and that was lack of elementary care. And I did protect, and none of South Sudanese died as either as a result of anger or as a result of floods in the area. I have the records of those who have lost their life due to floods. I visited their families and I stayed with them in solidarity. And it was lack of a parental care that some of the children were basically left and went to go to play alongside the river. And when the storm came and took over. When we talk about long term, what needs to be done in terms of flooding and in terms of actually, to me, I'm not talking about flooding, it's basically about water management. Our policy is clear and actually contradict to the thinking of the SPLM-IO chairperson, Dr. Riek Machar, and it is also contradictory to those who claim to be experts when it comes to water management and what really needs to be done. And that perhaps is a long and a light topic, but I had worked together with my colleague the late colleague of mine who passed on, Peter Manawa. We were always together as a Minister of Water Resources. Most places we have visited them, and we have a joint comprehensive plan that was going on. And I think when I come in as a president, I will implement my policy, particularly when it comes to water management, energy, and also dams in South Sudan. When I talk about dams in South Sudan, basically, I'm talking about a small scale dam, which basically could be able to provide power. And it's a light topics on that particular. And I think if Lagos State media one day could say that on that particular topic in when it comes to management of water of South Sudan, and we look at some of the consultations meetings that were done with experts, and that's why I did not participate because I had a different view and I was developing a different policy. I hope you are satisfied with that particular answer.
Yeah, thank you. Tab, do you have another question to ask?
Yeah, just a follow up to that. You mentioned that about the water management, which is really, really important. In terms of what is the challenge with the other parties within the government, there are some allegations, and I think, I think some of these allegations are likely to be true, that foreign interest is playing a massive role in South Sudan flooding issue. I've heard allegations that Egypt is paying Uganda to release more water onto South Sudan. Of course, the Jonglei Canal, that was Egypt was pushing it. The equipment came from Egypt, of course. Everyone knows that. So, what in terms of my question in that regard is like, what is the foreign interest that is that playing a role in the decision not to program?
Attack Holland, Honorable Peter, his phone is frozen, so let him come back. See, yeah, his network froze, so he will be back. Let me wait for him to come back. Yeah, and for those of you, I think we will. If you have questions, just write it, but we will not make this one long because of his phone is out of battery earlier, and then I think it's not full charge. So probably we just do this. We have like less than 15 minutes so that we can end this show. So let's wait for him to come back. And and other topics that we can make another show so that he can talk different topic, because these are very big, need a length of time so that he can answer them. So let us wait for him to come back, and then we will move forward. I think we are come to an end for this review for this time. Let me see here. Let's wait for him to come back. Hopefully his phone is not out of battery again. We know, guys, the network in Juba is sometimes not good. So bear with me if we can allow them to come back. Let's see here.
You say we are free. I need a list to give you more, you better. You to talk. Oh, you was gone. Ayan, Jana Junubi Ayan. Mafi Gurus, Kisim Giwasha Shedi. Oh, Gian, Jana Junubi Jian, it was to be led, Omakulu, and Fotu. Anataban, since 2011, Ladi Asma, same level today. Anataban, 21 years, fight and freedom, and we are fighting ourselves today. No one is safe on Emily Road. No one is safe on Juba to take a road. Oh. Dead bodies recovered on the river nights. Only God knows when the killers will be found. Oh no. None brothers everywhere. The youth are dying on the streets. We were finished from the bullets of the unknown gunmen and got the raiders. Ayan. Jana Junubi Ayan. Mafi Gurus and Githin was a city. Oh, Gian. Jana Junubi Gian. It was to be led over Kulu and Fotu. Anataban, since 2011.
Okay, seem like let's give him a few minutes if he's not showing up, so we're going to be end the show. So probably, I think his network probably is out of MBs and probably his phone is out of battery again. Let's give him a 2 minutes.
Belena, Sudana, Belena, Japan, Mindaman, Yarapona. Jali Jupayana, Belena, Mamurta, Sudan, Mujaja, Mafira, Lena, Jalna Maydin, Painanarapona. Belena, Jaban, min zaman yarabuna. Jali Jubayana, Belena, Mamurta, Sudan, Mujaja, Mafira, Lena, Jalna Maydin, Painanarapuna. Belena, Taban, min zaman yarabuna. Jali Jubayana, Belena, Mamurta, Sudan, Mujaja, Mafira, Lena, Jalna Maydin, Painanarapuna. Ya Chap Sudan ya Kwana Shitel Kumbelet Fiu Mushakil, Dalfi Mitenderta. Ya Chap Sudan ya Kwana Shitel Kumbelet Fiu Mushakil, Dalfi Mitenderta. Jab Sudan ya Kwana Shitel Kumbelet Fiu Mushakil, Dalfi Mitenderta. Ana beke dajan kum ya Sudan, Shitel kum ya Jama, Rabbana Bisai. Beke dajan kum ya Sudan, Shitel kum ya Jama, Rabbana Bisai. Our beloved leading in Sudan, Lord our God. Come and stop in the jet, our land not comfort to the knees are finished because of war between us. Our children terminate among our father love. Our blood bleeding in Sudan, Lord our God. Come and stop the jet, our land not comfort to the knees are finished because of war between us. Our children terminate among our father love.
Okay, thank you, Ajama. Let me, I think they are not, probably he will not come back again. So his network is down. So I will start from here. For those of you who ask some question, thank you very much. So I will end the show right here, and then we can schedule a next time for another show. So thank you for watching, and thank you for listening in to Lake State Media. We appreciate for always be here and listen to our guests, and we will bring them back maybe tomorrow or on the weekend if we have arranged the time. So thank you guys. Have a wonderful day, night, wherever you are. Stay blessed. Merry Christmas. Stay blessed with your family. Thank you. Have a good night. Bye for now. Okay, sorry guys. Honorable Peter Mayandi is back, so let us do it very quick. All right, sorry about that. So welcome back, Honorable Peter Mayen. I know. Can you hear me right?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Yeah. Yes.
Very good.
Yeah, I can hear you. So let us, I know you have issues of network and your phone is out of battery. So let us make it short this time, Doug. I would like you to put in your last question so that I can move on to my last question so that we can close down the room, the show. So his phone is you don't have a power. So if you can make your question brief, yeah, so that would be good.
Thank you so much, Ben Medit, and thanks to the former minister for coming as well. It's really good to have people who are in the government to come and have discussion with the people. It was just a follow-up. My last question was just a follow-up to what the minister said, or the former minister said. about the water management, which he was pushing for. And he mentioned about certain people within the government not having different ideas. I wonder if those ideas were ideas of foreign interests. For example, there's allegations that the flooding is being caused by Egypt, who's paying Uganda to continuously flood South Sudan with more water. And also, as well, it benefits Uganda because all these food that come into South Sudan come from Uganda. And Jonglei Canal, for example, was being pushed by Egypt, who bought trucks the vehicles into South Sudan. And the politicians, the ministers, the vice presidents push the Jonglei Canal onto the people of South Sudan as if they were sponsors or paid actors by foreign interests. So with the water management, what can you go into depth, please, to explain to the people of South Sudan why we don't have dams? Why we don't have dams in South Sudan? Why are dams not being built? And also as well, there is another issue with electricity in South Sudan. That the reason why dams are not being built is because Egypt does not want dams to be built, and that they even gave South Sudan generators so they can use petrol, destroy the environment, pollute the air, so that Egypt can continues to get more water. So can you expand into this, and what is there some truth to what I'm saying as well? If there's not, you can expand on that as well. Thank you so much. I really appreciate this, Ben Medit.
Thank you, Adak. Further, Honorable Peter.
Yeah, thank you very much. One of the facts which is a fact, and I was present at the Council of Ministers when some decisions were made. First and foremost, in regards to water management, but it was the Minister of Environment which actually took the lead in regards to that, and the Minister of Water Resources was ignored. I was present at that particular Council of Ministers. When we talk about the interest, Uganda, Ethiopia, or any, or including Sudan and Egypt, when it comes to water management and water ownership, basically the Nile, of course, we know where it comes from. That's Victoria. We do know that. It passes through here and it goes up to Egypt. In short, very clear. When it comes to water management, Peter Mayen does not have a compromise on that. I don't have a compromise, and I don't think there would be any nation that will influence me or will be able to do any kinds of fake democracy, what we have seen. Unique too is that we do not really agree to, we are calling for new agreements as the Nile vessels, those countries share the Nile. So we do not recognize the 1902 or the previous agreements which actually give to power on the Nile. So this was done when we were not in existence as South Sudanese, or we were not really in existence.
Honorable, can you speak a little bit louder? We cannot hear you well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine. I'm saying I really do agree to the fact that there were some resolutions that were made at the Council of Ministers. And those resolutions, not all ministers agree to it. It comes through the Cabinet Affairs Minister and also the Environment Minister. Without involvement of the late Honorable Peter, who was by then the Minister of Water Resources. God bless his soul and he rests in peace. So, and we the three of us, we had the three ministers, we had a different ideas. So these things were some of the documents, some of the resolutions you hear about them being smuggled at the back. We did oppose that. But now, when it comes to me here as a presidential candidate, I want to assure South Sudanese at large, the international community, and also the neighboring countries that I will
His pros again. So okay, bad with us, guys. So his network is it again. So let us see if we can able to come back again. Yeah, for those of you in Clubhouse, thank you guys. I don't think I will allow any other question at this moment. If he come back, I will let him go ahead and put in his closing remark, and then we call it a day. And then tomorrow we can schedule another show so that you can explain. If you guys have more questions, you can answer them. So let me give him 1 minute, two, so he can come back. I think his phone is out of power, so that's why I keep locking off and on. Let me see if I have any other music.
Jilo wona tonadol ton nyel DJ di ngarang jagda lo di ana papi.
Let's give him 1 minute.
Adina majaya jideng makwaga oton para iye maguni ya kudimit pandani ya ayi ton tuol kutunga ton adina majak anyar ke begwanda ijit sukula ikapi ajong jilo nani paje ayi pingikiye adina majaya jideng makwaga oton para iye maguni ya kudimit pandani ya ayi ton tuol kutunga ton adina majak anyar ke begwanda ijit sukula ikapi ajong jilo nani paje ayi pingikiye adina majaya jideng makwaga oton para iye maguni ya kudimit pandani ya ayi ton tuol kutunga ton adina majak anyar ke begwanda ijit sukula ikapi ajong jilo nani paje ayi pingikiye Pagabalo kubila pingan pindia den paniri junu ayora matul anmatin majak mati tinjina teto kutia tinjiwa ayora jema mana julo jodo inayo ajibia binyebi ibon jagalo ayi pinonge an bayani naga jalya to paniri chenya ayana tigiya tinijengate iyanu kunidima adolo maku ini chit paledi ayana mayadi kutengi nyela bode undana ene nyam tino owa yego we love well kubika yuni den jiunu madun boy bagong mabu kerago duru jon pajak paje ijin koni tor nyoli unu ayelwa ada ya
Okay, guys. Thank you very much. Sorry for waiting for you so much, so long. So we will schedule the show for another day. And thank you for being patient. For those of you in Clubhouse, Facebook, YouTube, thank you for watching. Have a wonderful night. We'll end the show here. Thank you. Have a good night, guys. Bye for now.